Hi, everyone. Very nice being here. Yeah, my name is Gaspard Peduzzi. I'm the co-founder of one of the co-founder of APWine protocol. And what we do is we create a derivative layer on DeFi Yield. So I'm going to explain to you what we're doing and show you a few things. So just quick introduction, DeFi Yield. Well, we all know it. We had crazy DeFi summers. It's extremely volatile. There are a lot of things that are building with that directly. Self-repaying loans, hedging of different kind. And when we launched the idea in August 2020, there was no any way to speculate on that volatility of the yield. Basically, liquidity providers were moving their phones. We were moving our phones from one platform to another to get this juicy yield in different platforms. And, well, we tried to tackle that issue, and we wanted to build something for the trader as well, because high volatility is very profitable for them. And we wanted to build a layer that would allow one to speculate on the evolution of the yield. And so we brought a new primitive, and this primitive is called yield tokenization. And basically, I'm going to explain how we do that and what can we do with it. But basically, we split the yield from the principal, and we allow people to make the yield tradable, exchangeable, so people can buy it, sell it, they can use it as a collateral somewhere. And that's something that was completely new at the time. So, I mean, as I said, we started that thing in August 2020. We launched a few alphas and testnet by the end of the year, and then we pushed that to Mainnet on February of this year. And I mean, it's a completely new thing, and it's actually way more than just yield tokenization, a few things that I'm going to explain, and we needed to iterate progressively there. How does it work? Well, imagine that you're depositing DAI on Aave, so you get a DAI, right? Well, this a DAI is the interest-bearing token, and your balance increases with the time, with the interest that you get. And, well, we take that interest-bearing token and we split it into two. The principal on one side, the future yield token on the other. And, well, that's it. That's the initial concept. But basically, that's the first step. That we did in a few weeks in 2020. And the thing is, when you're creating that tool, for it to be usable, actually, you need a market for that. You need a yield marketplace. And that's where the AMM comes into places. Basically, when we started to do this alpha version on testnet, we had like an order book mechanism, and people were trying to exchange this yield, to price it as well. But that's a rather complicated market. And yeah, like the thing is, we needed to build a dedicated AMM to support those type of assets. Why dedicated AMM? Well, those tokens are ERC20s, right? So we could create just a uni or sushi pool and just trade them there. But the thing is, they have properties bound to the type of asset that they are, meaning that they increase in value. And so that's something that has to be taken into account when you design the exchange, so that you can build an experience for liquidity provider that is actually quite efficient and that diminishes impermanent loss risk or that kind of thing. So our AMM works in some kind of twin pools. Basically, on one side you have principal token against underlying, and on the other you have future yield tokens again principal tokens. And with routing, you're able to go in all the ways that you want, and it works on the PT and against the underlying side. It works with the dynamic weight shifting mechanism that reduces the impermanent loss due to that type of asset. We share way more detail in our documentation, and yeah, explain just all the math and all we did that. It's more than a yield marketplace. It's more than the yield marketplace, actually. Tokenizing yield is about creating a layer of derivatives. What I mean by layer is we want things to be built on top of it. When we had the idea, we started to talk with a few very important people of the DeFi ecosystem that were running those big lending platforms and exchanges. And they asked one question that was, it's cool, but do you think the market is ready for that? Do you think the market is ready for derivatives on yield? That's a rather complex product, and it's a very legitimate question. And we could have said and answered, like, the first thing that we think about is it exists in traditional finance. It's huge. It's going to exist in DeFi. It's going to be huge. And so it's not only about wanting to be the first there, which we were, but it's about bringing something new to that side. But the other thing is, again, it's not just the marketplace. It's not just the derivatives. Interest rates is the price of liquidity. And when you take that into account, we see a lot of protocols trying to build like what people call like DeFi 2.0, that kind of thing, optimizing capital efficiency. Well, if you split the yield from the principal, you can actually revolutionize the inner working of a lot of different protocols that are currently existing, and that would be way more efficient, taking one side or the other, actually. And we spent the last few months, last year actually, discussing with a lot of protocols and explaining them the primitive that we bring and how can they leverage that to achieve a better capital efficiency on their side and increase their value proposition basically to the DeFi users in general. And there are a lot of different strategies that we can build on top of APWine. On the trading side, on the hedging side. It's basically like, I mean, liquidity providers now can get their yield in advance. So imagine you have a large amount of USDC stablecoins and you don't want to like, you want to get that juicy yield that you found on some platforms, but it's quite volatile. You cannot watch it every day. You don't want to give it to someone to handle that liquidity for you. And yeah, you just want to hedge your risk and maybe reinvest that yield gain in advance to put it somewhere else and do basically what we do, yieldceptions, compounding of the future yield. For traders, we are not only building futures, we are building different types of derivatives, and that's a very interesting market as well because it's extremely volatile, and again, it allows one to speculate on many things. It can be the revenue generated by a governance token. Basically, you can speculate on the efficiency or just the revenue making of one protocol, and that protocol can be Ethereum as well. You can sell in advance the yield generated through ETH 2.0 staking, that kind of thing. And yeah, so a lot of different things, and that's basically where we were. But yeah, I've seen that somewhere. But one thing is that we already had the discussion. We already had that talk with the community, with those different protocols that we want to build with, that we are building with, lots of people, and eventually, well, now we are at the stage where we're finally ready to push that forward and to deploy that. So I'm very excited to announce that we are finally going to Mainnet. I'm going to explain different steps there. But yeah, so it has been a long time. We have like a WEN Discord channel, so yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we have like a WEN Discord channel, so that's something that we'll be happy to close finally. Yeah, very excited, and basically a few steps there. Within the week, we'll release our smart contract, share that with the public, open some bounty programs, of course. We'll launch the governance, and there is one key aspect of the protocol is that I don't know if you've seen the tokamak listing war that was quite popular the last few weeks, and a lot of things happened around that in decentralized governance. And well, we'll have a quite similar process for the community to be able to create pools and list protocols and new assets. Basically, we want to lean towards a more permissionless approach. We want people in the community, the market, basically, to have directly the pools that they want, to be able to push for that. And so that's something that they will be able to do it, and we'll start that process next Monday. Of course, we'll release a blog post explaining everything and all. But yeah, that would be the first listing pools of events. So we built strategic partnership with like a lot of protocols that are very interested to be able to get yield in advance in their own protocol. Yeah, and very excited to do that. And thank you, everyone, for listening there. And I'll be happy to answer any question that you have. There was a demonstration video, but I had some connection issues, so we'll make sure to share it maybe on Twitter just after that. Thank you very much.